live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a beautiful and bountiful Ask an Engineer. Today's the letter B, and we'll talk a little later about why the letter B. Why it is beautiful and bountiful.
That's right.
We got an exciting show for tonight. Not much has happened in like the open source single board computing world, so we're probably just gonna like
boring
end
week.
early. It's just nothing.
Boring
Nothing's
week.
happening, but maybe we'll fill the time somehow.
We'll figure out something.
So why don't you tell them what's on tonight's show?
Okay, on today's show, do you know what the code is? The code is Pi celebrating Raspberry Pi 2 Model B. That is the big news. We were just kidding.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about this.
That's right.
I have been in a coma for 7
We're going
days.
to talk about show and tell. We had some amazing people. This is one of the more interesting, squishy, artsy, synthy. This
was cool. This was like art.
Cat show and tell that we've had in a long time. Very nice. Pack the mailbags and stop by. Adafruit jobs board. Adafruit Learning System 704 tutorials. Time travel, look back in science, space, technology, making, and more. Got some wearables. Got some 3D printing. Big Pi news. We got new products. We're going to answer your questions. We have a trivia question. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer. Okay, Lady Ada. First things first.
Okay.
Don't forget, the code is Pi. Use that 10% off in the Adafruit store.
Not Pippi Longstocking. Pi.
10% off everything except for gift certificates and Eagle Cat software. Those are the only two things we can't do discounts for. We still take Bitcoin. That's right, we do.
You have cyber currency and you want to get rid of it?
That's right.
We'll take it.
Our free deals right now, free UPS ground in the continental US, $200 or more. And you're probably saying, but what if I just wanted to buy a little tiny thing and
Maybe I want a resistor.
Where would I go?
Where would I go?
And could I get Adafruit products there too? Yep. DigiKey is now stocking stuff from Adafruit.
All sorts of stuff.
All sorts of stuff. They don't have it. Call them or email them or fax them and say, I have a non-catalog request.
So easy. They have a web chat. They have a phone number. And what did they say? They answer like 800 million calls a year or something ridiculous?
8 billion.
They have like a team of wonderful Minnesotans who will answer the phone, and they'll be so polite, don't you know?
Yeah.
And you can say, I have a non-catalog request. I would like you to carry, and then the Adafruit product ID, and magically they will order it from us, and they will have it, and they will stock it.
Yeah.
You have to ask them.
So that's new, and we're pretty happy about it. So this week's show is brought to you by the letter B. Every single week, excuse me, we're going to talk about a new letter in the new Adafruit coloring book, Lady Ada's. R is for robots. And this week, B. B is for Big Dog.
Oh, look at that friendly military robot. Oh, it just had these googly eyes.
So Big Dog was made by Boston Dynamics, which is now, it was acquired by Google. And they're known for making probably one of the most viral robot videos ever. And this thing goes ging, 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 ging.
Yeah,
and it's like a pack bot. Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a pack mule robot.
Yeah.
And they can run or walk on 4 legs. And what's cool about this is most people have robots with wheels. So you're used to like wheeled robots that just roll over stuff. And what's powerful about walking robots is it can walk up steep inclines and it can walk over rocky terrain and then kill you, I guess. But it's very interesting, like how they have to manage the gait and balance of this robot because it has to be able to like. What if it steps on a rock and that rock is loose and then it starts to fall? It has to like a human kind of like back up a little bit.
The videos are great because you can see Big Dog slipping on the ice and everything.
Yeah, it's very weird because it's very like half animal, half human, half robotic. But it's a very big advance in robotics. And what's cool is a lot of the technologies that were designed for Big Dog will also make its way into prosthetics.
Yeah, no,
so
if you can have
very powerful technology.
if you can have something that was meant to carry equipment that can carry another precious cargo, which is a human being.
Yeah.
So imagine a robot that could go upstairs and do all the things in the world that a wheelchair or something else couldn't do. So anyways, B is for Big Dog. It's in our new coloring book.
Color it in.
You can download the coloring book on adafruit.com/R is for robots. It's a Creative Commons coloring book. You can get one, give it to a kid. And like we always said, we like to make robot friends, not robot enemies.
That's why this is such a friendly robot.
I hope the robots remember this when they take over, that I was a robot friend. Okay, so next show and tell, Lady Ada. We have a show and tell every single week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The show and tells are getting really full, so try to be around as early as you can before we kick off the show. We have people around the world showing
That's
and
it. We had a
sharing.
lot of new people. That's
Yeah.
some new people. It was a good.
So what was
good
on the show?
time. Okay, I want to do the show, and you can.
You can do other things.
Do other things over there with your computer.
Yeah.
We start off with Tony DeCola from Adafruit Northwest. He is doing all sorts of Pi stuff, and this week he's working on a future project that was requested by Colin in-house, but also other people have brought this up. He's making a standalone Raspberry Pi video looper that when you plug in a USB key with a video, like an MP4 or whatever, that's even 1080p or 720p or whatever, it will loop that video continuously on the HDMI output, which is really, really handy for a lot of people who have like video installations or projections or something else where they just want something small that can output HDMI or composite, and it loops the video seamlessly. So he's working on that, and he's doing a lot of research, and he's going to come up with a really good guide, so watch for that this week. Noah and Pedro showed off next week's project is a cute little easy key. It's a Bluetooth keyboard game controller, so you can use it to play games on like your Android tablet, if you have like an emulator, or even I think iOS or whatever, your computer. You can use it as a little portable game controller, and it's all 3D printed, which is kind of neat. They're doing all 3D print with electronics
And uses
inside.
our Bluefruit.
The Bluefruit Easy Key, so it can do key commands, no programming needed. And then this week's video is going to be bronze fill techniques. So bronze fill and copper fill are the new filaments that we're carrying that can be used by many 3D printers, and they have they're plastic impregnated with copper or bronze pieces. And even though it's 3D printed, it looks and feels and even weighs like copper or bronze. It's not conductive, but it's still, for sculpture, it's really, really good looking. And so they talked about finishing techniques to get the print to look a lot like it was a cast bronze piece.
And Pedro had 3D scanned his wife when she was 7 months pregnant. He made a little bronze version of her.
Yeah,
and
cool.
then they also showed a preview of this new 3D printed cosplay thing.
Yeah.
So you gotta watch
I had a
that video.
request in it.
Yeah, you gotta watch that video.
And then Aiden came in, and so I know Pedro from, don't forget, tomorrow, 3D Hangouts, every single Thursday at 3 p.m. is 3D Hangouts with Noah and Pedro. They go through techniques, tips, new printers, reviews, like everything, anything you ever want to know about 3D printing, check it out. They have the best and longest running 3D printing show.
They've made me a believer in this technology.
Good, because we carry like 4 3D printers.
Yeah. Yeah, today on the Adafruit blog, we posted about some of the things going on in the world of 3D printing. And right now, the top seller for us is the Taz 4.
Yep.
And the
Big
printer
platform,
bot, and
open source.
Yeah, and the printer bot metal.
Yep.
So there's never been a better time for anyone who wants a 3D printer between $399 and like $200 and something, $2,000 something dollars. We've got that range.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, next up, Aiden, who's been doing soft robotics, came in with a really cool technique of 3D printing a mold and then silicone casting Lego pieces. And he actually gets them to squish fit together, so you can actually use these little Lego pieces to assemble a soft, squishy robot, and then maybe embed electronics, and then you can use silicone glue to make it solid.
Squish fit.
Squish fit,
Term of the night.
not snap fit, squish fit.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different. It's not snap
Yeah,
fit.
these are neat. These are like little bits of robots, and someone said little bots. So they're little magnetic bots.
No,
Very cool.
not that's the up there yet. This is the Aiden's with the silicone.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
but then we talked about
Oh,
the squish bot that could squish fit with this. There was a lot going on tonight.
There's a lot going on. This is an amazing video. You gotta go watch
Yeah.
it. Okay, so nice work, Aiden. Lon came in. He's been working on some costuming, and he's doing EVA foam finishing, and he's making a helmet. And you making this helmet with EVA foam, and then off the shelf, like just parts, like little tins and stuff, as decorative, and then embedding NeoPixels and other technology into it. So it's been a long-term project that he's working on. It comes by every month or so, and gives us an update. Next up, Ekawayu showed up with a really cool modular mini robot, really amazing. Beautiful little robot with, it's very much like Little Bits, but it's stackable and it's for robotics. It's much more complicated, but it's like Bluetooth Low Energy and like li-poly charging, these little motors. And it has all these pieces that snap on, and it's a PhD research project or a postdoc research project?
Yeah.
And he was demoing it and showing it off, but it's really, really amazing. Anybody who's interested in modular robotics, check it out, because they did a very beautiful and interesting job with the press fit magnets into a circuit board, and I guess maybe some glue, so that you can snap together these pieces and then control them and then add as many as you want. They come up with their own protocol, and it's called the SMAC project, and we'll blog about it if we haven't yet. I'm sure because they've asked us. They've actually sent it to us, and we'll blog it up because it's really interesting research in microrobotics. And then Mikhail came in and showed off 2 3D printing projects with 2 interesting techniques. One is he printed out this 3D dragon. It's like Helen's dragon or something. This is a figurine. It's like dragon that kind of looks like that. It's like a dragon impression.
Yeah.
And he used a hot air gun to heat it after it's printed to remove the wings and the neck to refigure the printer. So I guess PLA, you can reheat it a little bit and then.
I thought it was a clever solution to like, well, what if you're an artist and you just, you
the
make a design.
Close.
Yeah, well, you also 3D print something, but you want to do limited edition and have some type of human besides the initial design. So what you could do is you can have each one, you can kind of, individually make minor changes and kind of like make it unique.
It's interesting to see all these like new techniques, like 3D printing. Like when it came out, it was just like okay, just like plastic. But now it's like interesting. There's a lot of new materials and techniques. Another thing he did was he took a printer bot Simple, which is the small open 3D printer, and he extended the rods because the rods, especially if you make the one that you build yourself, the DIY kit, you can exchange the rods for rods that you buy at a hardware store. You can make them as tall as you want. So even though the build platform is, I think, like 6 inches or 8 inches by 8 inches, you can make it infinitely tall. Well, not infinite, but like very tall. And so he replaced the screws that were normally like 8 inches long with 2 meters or something, or a meter long, and he 3D printed a model of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building, the hotel in where is it again?
Oh, I forget.
Shoot, I want to remember in like 3 seconds. In the Emirati building that's extremely tall, and they said he just had to slow it down every few hours because as it gets taller, it wiggles more because it's like the 3D printing is like this tall. And so it printed in one piece, but he had to slow it down, so it took a very long time because at the end it was wobbly, so just make it a little slower. And then Scott showed off his MIDI stuff and played us out, and it was pretty epic. There was like all sorts of video art going on.
If you ever wanted to know what it's like to be in like a trendy New York gallery and there's like video projections and weird music going on, just watch the show and tell because at the end that's what it turned into. Okay. It was cool. It was neat. The best 30 minutes on live internet.
This was really entertaining. Yeah, you guys are doing a great job entertaining me.
Okay. So, Lady Ada, did you know all participants on the show and tell get as seen on the show and tell sticker?
Yes.
We actually send them one in the mail.
We send you a physical vinyl sticker.
Yeah.
And then you can stick it on your project or your cat or whatever you want.
Yep. And
or your cat project.
How do they get on the show and tell? That's what everyone wants to know.
I'm glad you asked, Phil.
I have to ask.
Yeah, I know you have to ask.
It's in the script. We rehearse this for hours a day.
You can, if you would like to show your project, including crafting, making, hacking, your workspace, something you soldered, something you sewed, something
retro, makerspace, hackerspace.
Pretty much like your gun blade that you 3D printed. Pretty much anything that's cool, you can show it off on the show and tell.
Yeah.
We have it every single week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Show up in the show and to show up in the show and tell circle, you have to go to our Google Plus page at plus.google.com/plus Adafruit. Look for the thread where we say comment here to get added to the show and tell. I think we even have like a little like robot saying hey, and you comment there.
We do. We have a
and
little robot that says hey.
Say hey, robot, I would like to be added to the show and tell circle, and then we will right click on your avatar and then go down and say add to circle, and then select show and tell circle, and then every single week you will be invited to show off your project. So you can show up as many times as you want. So do it now.
Okay. And just a reminder, Ask an Engineer is a show you're watching now every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. and Show and Tell, as Lady Ada said, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mailbag. This is back in the mailbag. We get letters from lots and lots of people every single week. We read these at our weekly all-company meeting, and we like to read them to you guys too. This week's letter is from Tom, Ben, and Isaac. My kids and I want to thank you for the amazingly fast-packed and amazingly awesome packages we received today. You made our day amazing in all the best ways. Not only did the Lulzbot 4 work on the very first print run, but the books are already being devoured and the pies are being snatched up for our Pie Boy projects. We will be having tons of stuff to show off in the show and tell, and thanks to all the Ada people who made it possible. It makes an old feezer like me so damn happy that a company like yours, with the ethos you foster exists, you are a welcome part of the geek family. Yours in happiness, Tom, Ben, and Isaac. Thank you. And we got a photo.
Yeah.
Here's the kids with the Tazbot.
The Tazbot.
Yeah, so thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We work really hard, and some days are harder than others, when sites go down because Raspberry Pis are released and a billion people are using your website, and some days
it's tough.
Some days,
but we hold on.
And then some days, you just got a lot of stuff going on running a business with like 65 people. So thank you for sending those emails. They give us energy.
And if you ever thought of like, hey, I don't know, like they're not going to read it. We read them. Trust me, we read them and we cherish them.
Oh yes.
We cherish them.
Yes. Okay. Adafruit's job board. The best place online to post a job if you got skills. I'm sorry, if you have skills, you can post up your skills.
We personally have hired like 3 people that have posted on the jobs board.
Yeah. Lady and I approved these ourselves, so there's no spam, there's no headhunters, it's all good jobs. This week on the job board, iOS R&D robot and toy prototyper at Spherio in Boulder, Colorado.
This is a cool job.
Yeah.
This is a cool job.
If you're an iOS developer, join the Spherio R&D team. You'll be working with R&D team to build a state-of-the-art mobile and, most importantly, fun connected toys like our existing products, Spherio and Ollie.
This is fun. If you're in Boulder and like you want to get into robotics and iOS, maybe you know an iOS program, definitely check them out because they're so cool. They have that awesome like robot, and they have 2 of them now. Yeah. And it's in the Apple Store, and like they have even had a video of like the president playing with one. Like they're really fun. Yeah.
So that's data for jobs board, and all you have to do is post up your skills, or if you're a company, today I think IDEO put up a bunch of job listings too.
This is great. As if you're a maker, and what's cool is a lot of these skills, they never say like 8 years degree required. A lot of these are people who are just looking for makers, hackers, tinkers, people who know this stuff, not necessarily have a PhD. So this is, I really like this because I'm used to like most job listings are like, they're like, well, if you don't have a master's in computer science, we're not going to hire you. And it's like, you don't have to have a master's to be good at this.
A lot of this stuff now just moves so fast.
Yeah.
With the technologies, the programming languages and everything, it's really difficult to be an expert at something where you have to be an expert of learning.
Yeah.
And taking those skills from programming language or hardware skill to the next thing. So
and makers are great to hire because they're always curious and making stuff.
Yeah.
And they want to learn new skills, which is great.
Yeah. Okay. Adafruit Learning System. Speaking of learning, 704 tutorials.
Wow.
We're gonna
get along there.
Yeah, we're gonna hold off on going too deep into this one because we're gonna be talking about the Raspberry Pi 2 Model B a lot. So that's coming up soon. But we're gonna show this video. Yep. This is the one that video is coming up. So I'm gonna just let you know that the audio prank gift box is going to be in our wearable section tonight. So we'll
hold on.
Yep. And then next up, you know about this one. This is the Arduino Yun Tembu Twitter Tracker, so an Internet of Things project.
Oh, sorry. You caught me like mid-yawn.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. This is a project from Tembu, and they have sort of like a interface for Internet of Things. So they kind of handle a lot of the like interface backend for Internet of Things projects. And they partnered up with Arduino to support and provide tutorials for the young. So this is a project that lets you, press a button and it tweets when it presses a button, or when you receive a tweet, it lights up the LED. So it's just a good demo for if you have a YUN, how to make it work with Twitter using Tembu as the intermediary, which is a free service you can use to help you with the input-output stuff.
Next up, this is a preview of what's going to be on the 3D Hangout show tomorrow, and also on 3D Thursday. It's how to polish copper fill and bronze fill filament.
It is beautiful. You can see the nice finish on these. They came up with some great techniques, so check it out. This is we sold that very fast on the copper and bronze fill, so I think we'll see a lot of fun projects that use them.
And one of the most useful tutorials. This was recently released and updated. This
was Friday.
Yeah, this is the kernel-o-matic.
I was like, that was 2 weeks ago. This is the kernel-o-matic. This is this is actually a tutorial that I just wanted, but I think a lot of other people find this very useful. If you've ever done Raspberry Pi development or any other like single board computer development, chances are you will eventually get to the point where you're like, well, you have to recompile the kernel. And you need to do that because like there's a module that you have to add, or maybe there's a mistake or a bug or a feature, or the kernel's been updated since you got your image. And for a lot of these single board computers, especially the Raspberry Pi, maybe not the Pi 2, but definitely the Pi 1, it can take hours to compile a kernel. It takes a very, very long time. You need a lot of disk space as well. And so you want to be able to compile a Linux kernel for an ARM processor on your desktop that's like an Intel or Mac or whatever computer. So what this tutorial shows you how to do is it comes with a Vagrant file, which is basically a way to make a very fast and lightweight Linux virtual machine on your computer. So if you have Windows or Mac, you can make another miniature Linux computer inside your computer, and then it sets that up to automatically what? It's I don't know.
A babushka doll.
It's a little doll of like, yeah, you can run it in virtual and virtual and virtual. And it's still extremely fast because the VirtualBox is extremely fast emulating. So even though you're emulating like another computer with Linux, it's nearly as fast as the desktop computer you're using. And so it lets you compile a kernel using like a multi-core processor, and you can get your kernel done in like 10 to 15 minutes. And it even makes a lovely Debian package as well. So if you're, you can just transfer it to your Pi and install it with dpackage. It's like awesome. And I'm going to be using it a lot because the Pi 2 just came out. We're going to compile some kernels.
Yeah.
Good times.
Someone in the chat, they said, this is weird. I'm compiling a kernel in a VM right now using VirtualBox, watching a show.
We are in your VirtualBox right now.
And we're doing a show about that.
Yeah. Well, maybe this person should check out the Raspberry Pi kernel matter. We'll also hopefully port it to the BeagleBone Black because I think people want to compile BeagleBone Black.
I think all of us are kernel compiling inside of a big virtual machine called the universe.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's so deep, man.
Okay. Next up, time travel. Here it is. Every single week we celebrate something in the world of making, hacking, art, science, engineering, you name it. Here's the anniversary. From 1995, astronaut Aline Collins becomes the first woman to pilot space shuttle from Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Cool.
She's a retired NASA astronaut and Air Force colonel, former military instructor and test pilot. She's the first female pilot and first female commander of a space shuttle. She was awarded several medals for her work. She has logged 38 days, 8 hours, and 10 minutes in outer space. She retired in May of 2006 to pursue private interests, including a board member of USAA. Cool.
She's hardcore.
Hardcore. Next up,
Okay.
wearables. Yeah, wearables for the week. This is our video. This is...
I don't think it's on.
Oh, I didn't turn it on. That's right. Sorry, I gotta turn it on.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, it's not plugged in.
I need to have. Okay, you know what? This is.
I want to make this work.
This is why we have video. Video time.
Here's a fun project to amp up your next gift. Shake to activate sound effects that will add anticipation and mystery to any present you give. Grab the Audio FX soundboard, vibration switch, and other parts for this project at Adafruit.com. There's a complete tutorial and circuit diagram on the Adafruit Learning System. The link is in the description. First, prepare your audio board by adding the screw terminals and a JST battery connector and load up your sounds. The board shows up like a USB flash drive when you plug it into your computer. Trim and solder header pins to the board in a way that lets the battery connector hang over the edge. Prepare the vibration switch by tinning the leads and attaching two stranded wires. Heat shrink tubing insulates the inner connection and protects the whole thing from bending too much. Assemble the rest of the circuit according to the diagram and stick it inside your gift box. Experiment with the fast and slow switches to achieve the sensitivity you're looking for. You can optionally make your circuit more permanent by transferring it to a Perma Proto board. This simple circuit can easily be adapted for many motion-activated sound projects. How would you make it your own? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more audio projects from Adafruit.
All right, and we're back.
Okay, so this is actually a tutorial we did because a lot of people asked how to make something that makes a sound when you shake it. And so you don't have to put it in a gift box. It's just a basic tutorial on like a vibrating switch that can then use with the soundboard. So you can like have just like anything that moves or shakes or whatever make a sound. So hopefully those people will be happy now.
Okay.
The secret is a capacitor.
All right, and next up, don't forget Becky's show is Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern every single Wednesday, 2 p.m.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, 3D projects this week. We have a video as well. This is the copper fill.
Okay.
Not copper fill.
Not copper fill. Copper fill fill.
Copper fill.
Who's on first?
Copper fill.
Okay.
Hey everybody, Pedro here for Adafruit, and today we're going to be checking out 3D printing and metal with ColorFab's new line of metal composite materials. So today we're going to be sharing how to print, as well as some polishing techniques with a tumbler to get you some fantastic looking metal prints. Copper fill and bronze fill are metal powder particles mixed with PLA to bring you prints that look like they were casted. The new metal filaments print excellent in all the open source 3D printers we offer in the Adafruit shop. Temperatures for printing are the same as PLA with no heated bed required. Printing at high resolutions of 100 microns works great and is recommended for making models easier to polish. Be sure to take care when priming the nozzle, as the filament can maintain its heat because it's, well, metal. We're happy to say that it prints excellent on both Bowden and direct drive extruders with no modifications required. We printed these 3D scans using 230C with 2 shells. If your print is more delicate, you might want to bump up the shells to 3 or 4 so that it can survive the tumbler. Check out the complete print settings and full guide on the Adafruit Learning System. Feel free to play with retraction settings, but as you'll soon see, stringy bits are very easy to clean up. Of course, prints with no islands like these selfie busts will print without too much cleanup. Fresh off the build plate, these prints look more like clay than anything metal. The stringy bits are super easy to remove. You can simply use your fingers to rub off any bits and smooth out the prints. A hobby knife can be used to speed up the process. If your prints look super stringy, don't fear. Remember that the tumbler will smooth out a lot of the outer shell of the print. Even this super stringy dragon looks great after a bit of cleanup. Copper fill is pretty strong as seen in these bend tests. It took quite a bit of pressure to break our Raspberry Pi case and actually took quite a bit of force to bend back before it snapped into 2. Next up, it's time to really bring out the metal shine with a small tumbler. This small 3-pound tumbler from Lower Tone supports prints that are about 90 millimeters tall by 85 millimeters wide. For the medium, we'll be using brass metal screws. Use different size screws so that they can smooth out smaller details on the prints. Here we're using double zeros, number 2s, 4s, and 10 size screws. Obviously, don't use bigger screws for smaller prints. After you have your screw sizes ready, carefully place the print inside of the barrel and begin tumbling. Just make sure not to over-tighten the lid. Remember that smaller prints can take about 6 hours to look really shiny, while larger objects with a lot of detail can take up to 36 hours of tumbling to get a very polished look. Avoid getting dust on your hands by being sure to use gloves to remove your prints after it's tumbled, as the screws grind together and create metal particles. You'll definitely want to periodically check on your print to make sure it's still in one piece. Here the dragon didn't make it all in one piece, but it's easy to glue back together later. Use a small brush to clean off the metal dust from the screws grinding. Finish it off by using a shop towel to clean and polish off the remaining dust into the print. And after about a day and a half of tumbling, this selfie bust looks like it was casted. The screws really do an excellent job of smoothing out the layers while bringing out the metal shine. Other methods like steel wool or sandpaper really bring out PLA's chalky white color, totally ruining the polished look. And so there you have it, that's copper fill from ColorFab. We carry copper fill and bronze fill in the Adafruit shop. We think it's awesome for artwork, jewelry, cases, and of course, selfie busts. So what would you print in copper? Let us know in the comments below and maybe we'll print it in our live 3D printing show. You can watch it every Thursday at 3 p.m. ET. And until then, see you guys next week.
Okay, so
Welcome
that's
back.
our 3D printing video. Don't forget tomorrow.
3D Thursday, every Thursday at 3 p.m. with Noah and Pedro. Everything that's fit to print.
That's right. Raspberry Pi stuff. No new news
No
at all.
news, no,
Time to skip
nothing.
it.
Yep, skip it.
So we're going to go a little bit out of order here, but for the folks who watched the live video stream or were there, so I was watching it at like whatever, 4 in the morning or whatever it was. They released a new Raspberry Pi Model 2 B. And during the press release,
But it looks like a B+.
And during the press conference, they had questions at the end. And someone said, is there anything you wanted to add to the Pi but couldn't because you wanted to keep the cost down? And Liz, the director of communications there, shouted out, wheels! And so
Everything's better with wheels.
yeah, which was funny. And so what we did is we had Noah and Pedro create wheels.
They're cute little wheels. Yes, this is the
Yeah.
this is the Raspberry Pi Model B Plus case that they already designed, and they just sort of extruded out these wheels. And maybe they'll make it as a future project. Maybe we'll even get some like robo wheel. Maybe we'll make it move around. Like
Yeah.
that'd be this is already kind of cute because wouldn't it be nice to have a little computer on wheels? You just like
Maybe-
maybe Okay.
Okay.
Nice work, Note Pedro. Thank you very much for the
Now,
wheels.
other things, we have a Raspberry Pi 2 Model B, and you did some testing.
Yeah.
At like 3 in the morning. And here's a quick video. It's like 3 in the morning somewhere in the world. What are you doing?
I'm doing really important research with the Pi 2. And you're really disrupting me. This is extremely important bootstrapping stuff I gotta get working here.
Okay, what are you doing?
I'm testing out the PlayStation 1 emulator on the Pi 2, which is 100% speed, so I can go back and play Crash Bandicoot.
Okay.
Very important.
All right. Good work.
All right, important testing has to occur.
So what was that exactly?
That was my first test of running a PlayStation 1 emulator. I just grabbed the code from Emulation Station, the code that they use, and I just downloaded it and compiled it on the Raspberry Pi 2 Model B, and it compiled and ran the first time, and it actually ran at full 60 frame per second speed, fast emulation with audio, and audio is usually the toughest part to do good emulation with. Usually that gets dropped in order to keep the video going, and emulation, but it actually had full speed video and audio. I've also been working on getting Nintendo 64 compiled. That's getting a little bit more challenging because there's a recompiler, a dynamic recompilation that occurs. So I haven't gotten that working, but so far, because I'm really interested in what emulators can run, and a lot of them have been slow, having it run on the Pi 2 is much, much faster. So it's a good test of the Pi 2 because it has, you have to do file I/O and video and audio and all that stuff all together. So I don't know. Well, we're going to do more tests. Hopefully we'll have a tutorial as well.
Okay. And then we have a couple videos that we recently released, and this is from a couple of our new Pi products. So they're very short.
Oh, the Pi hats. Yeah.
We're going to play one, and then we're going to play the other.
Okay. Hey everybody, it's me, Lady Ada, here at the Adafruit factory, and I'm here to introduce one of my new Raspberry Pi hat designs. Now you may be wondering, what is a Raspberry Pi hat? Well, I'm glad you asked. A hat is a daughter board for the Raspberry Pi Model A+ or B+, and adds extra functionality when plugged into the 40-pin GPIO connector. The Raspberry Pi is a powerful little computer, but one thing it's lacking is support for a lot of PWM or servo outputs. We're going to help it out by installing the Servo PWM hat. This hat adds the PCA 9685, which has 16 channels of PWM output. It's great for example, controlling servos. Just plug it into one of the available ports. Since servos draw huge spikes of current, we also recommend an external 5-volt power supply, starting from 2 amps up to 10 amps, depending on how many servos you have connected to the hat. What if you have to control a lot of servos with a Raspberry Pi? Not a problem. By soldering in stacking and right-angle headers, you can connect multiple servo hats together to control up to 992 servos. You'll be up and running in under 5 minutes with our easy-to-use Python code. All of the Adafruit hats for Raspberry Pi are designed, manufactured, assembled, tested, and shipped out of the Adafruit factory here in Manhattan. So if you would like to add servos to your next Raspberry Pi project, why not pick up an Adafruit servo hat? Add 16 servos and get your robot project moving. Hey everybody, it's me, Lady Ada, here at the Adafruit factory, and I'm here to introduce...
All right, sorry
Okay,
about
good
that.
times.
Yeah,
We
sorry.
liked it so much, we almost played twice.
Yeah. And then we have one more, believe it or not, back-to-back this week before we jump into new products and Pi Model 2. Take it away again, Lady Ada.
Thanks. Howdy folks, it's me, Lady Ada, here at the Adafruit Ranch, and I'm here to talk to you today about a new Raspberry Pi hat from Adafruit. Now you might be wondering, shucks Lady Ada, what is a Raspberry Pi hat? Well, I'm glad you asked. A Raspberry Pi hat is an add-on board for Raspberry Pi computers model A+ or B+, and adds extra functionality when plugged into the GPIO headers at the top of the Pi. Today we're going to be showing off the Adafruit Capacitive Touch Sensor hat. When plugged into a Raspberry Pi, this adds 12 channels of capacitive touch sensing. That means that it can detect when a person or animal has touched one of the contacts. Each one of the 12 capacitive touch sensors on the hat has a figure-8 cutout in it, designed to be gripped by an alligator clip. The other side of the alligator clip should be connected to your conductive electrode. For example, this metal spoon will work great. Now you can run the Python code on the Raspberry Pi to talk to the sensor, and it will be able to tell you when somebody has touched or picked up the spoon. You can get pretty creative with your electrodes. You don't have to use just a metal spoon. You can also use conductive fabrics, conductive inks or paints, flexible copper tape, translucent or clear ITO-coated glass or plastic. Even stuff that's squishy or wet works really well, like this glass of water. You can get pretty creative with your electrodes. Try stuff around the house. You never know it's going to work. All of the Adafruit hats for Raspberry Pi are designed, manufactured, assembled, tested, and shipped out of the Adafruit factory here in Manhattan. Add some creative capacitive touch to your next Raspberry Pi project with Adafruit's capacitive touch hat. Okay.
All right. Thanks for letting us put hats on you for this.
We have like 6 more hats that I have to
Yeah.
wear to do these.
Okay. Well, let's keep moving along. The code is Pi celebrating Raspberry Pi 2. We're going to be talking about that in just a bit because you know what time it is, Lady Ada. It is new product time.
Okay, we're going to
Ding,
put the
ding, ding,
Pi
ding.
2 in the new products.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is what we're going to do. We're going to zip through these and talk about all the new things with Pi 2. First up, this is a new product not on our site. This is so weird. Hackaday has a version of our Permaproto. We're calling it the Permaproto Black Hat. It's the Adafruit Permaproto hat, but it's a special edition from Hackaday. We're doing some cool stuff with them. So if you're interested in a Permaproto, but you like the Hackaday logo, you like the Hackaday site, you want to do something on like hackaday.io.
You like build black PCBs?
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right. We had the other mill in briefly.
Yes.
It sold out instantly. This is from our friends, Other Machine Co.
Yeah.
It is a little portable mill.
Thank you for holding it. This
Yeah.
is the new version. So this is the post-Kickstarter version, and it's a little CNC mill, and you can see there's a high-speed motor and a little mill drill bit, and then here's the bed, and this is a nice new one that we grabbed. It comes with these little tools, and it's nice and closed, and it's got these magnets, and it works basically, you can even load in like basically EagleCAD files directly onto the software that runs in a Mac, and it's like a
You can hold
3D
this
CNC mill, and it can also do like brass and bronze and copper and aluminum and other metals if you want. But I use it as a circuit board mill, and it can you can use 1/100th of an inch mills with it. Although we don't usually need that small, we use like 1/32 usually or 1/64th, and you can basically make single-sided or double-sided PCBs at home using this, and especially if you have a lab or a school or a business where you are making a lot of prototype PCBs, instead of waiting like a week or even rush maybe 2 or 3 days, you can now have a PCB in under an hour. So we use it all the time. We use it almost every single day here at Adafruit. It's one of our most beloved tools. We sold out very fast, but we'll have more very soon. So please sign up, and we'll get you another mill.
Okay. Updated today.
This is the new Raspbian SD card. I just wanted to bump it so people, so I could remind people that we now have Raspbian 2015, Raspbian 2015, January 31st, which is the release that just came out a couple days ago. And so this Raspbian image is compatible with the Pi 2, as well as backwards compatible with all other Pis that have come before. So anytime you are buying a Pi 2 or a Pi or whatever, and you want a pre-imaged Raspbian SD card, this one's for you. We'll be updating the Noobs SD card shortly.
Okay. Next up, and these are just some of the new packs.
Mm-hmm. We've also updated our packs, and we just like make it more clear. Like this pack, which is like a budget pit pack, we just updated it to clarify that it is now compatible with the Pi 2 as well, because it comes with the new Raspbian SD card that just got released. So all these are just the same.
So if you go to adafruit.com/new, you'll see some of our Pi packs, and we update them with the right words. So people are like, this is Pi 1, this is Pi 2, this is Model B, Model B+.
So these packs are compatible.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, go back one.
I know.
Sorry. These packs are compatible with the Model, the Pi 1 Model B+, as well as the Pi 2 Model B. Anything with the 4 USB jacks, not compatible with the previous Model B, the Raspberry Pi 1 Model B, which has 2 USB jacks. But we have separate packs for those.
Yeah.
I think going forward, people are going to want to use the Pi 2 and the B+ the most. Okay.
Okay. If
Next
you
up.
want to build a game girl,
Yep. Hold on.
we've got a pack for you.
Yep, this is a popular request. We have all the parts in the store, but some people are like, well, I just want like one pack that makes it like really easy to pick up. This is a pack for the Pi Girl, which is the portable game Pi, and I'm booting it right now. I'll show it off in a little bit. But it lets you play emulated games with the Nintendo or MAME, and we did this project a while ago when there was only the Pi Model B. We'll be redoing it for the Pi 2 soon, because that'll be great. You'll be able to like play games like, I think, what was some games that Golden Axe didn't play at 100%, and also some other like later MAME games. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they didn't work. So we're gonna, and then audio will work better and everything, because emulation is gonna be much better on the Pi 2. So if you would like to play, for example, Gauntlet on a little Pi, and you have access to a 3D printer, if you 3D print the case, you can use the rest of the parts in this pack to build your own Gauntlet playing game.
Okay.
Hey, I like this. I played Zelda on this. It was really great.
Okay. Next up, a couple new cases.
This is the Andes case. They're compatible with the Pi 2 as well as the Raspberry Pi 1 Model B+. Again, if it has the 4 USB ports, it'll be compatible. We just got these in, and we tested it with the Pi 2, and it works. And we tested it with the B+, works. They're really beautiful anodized aluminum cases. They're machined, and then they have a clear plastic top for this one, or the black one, which has a smoky top. You can still see the LEDs, but it's darker if you go to the next one. So you have silver clear and black anodized smoke. They're both very beautiful.
Okay.
And they also come with a USB USB cable and little bumpers, and you can like wall mount them. I just think they're like really cool cases. Like there's a lot of Pi cases, but these ones are really good.
Okay. Next up, this is a new kit in celebration of the nationwide event, Superb Owl.
Yes, this is a Superb Owl. And this Superb Owl is actually a kit. This is just the assembled one that's actually covered in gloss. It comes as parts. And what's neat about this is it actually does not have a battery. Instead, it has these micro solar cells. So this is a batteryless kit, and you can kind of see it flashing away, these little Superb Owl LEDs. And you can recharge it over USB or solar, so you can hold it up to the sun for a few minutes, and it will recharge the little supercapacitor or a little battery. I don't know if it's a supercapacitor battery. And then, or you can use USB to charge the battery as well. So it's kind of a neat kit, because it's like you can cover it and coat it, and you never have to worry about like replacing the battery, because it uses solar power. It can also run off of solar.
Yep. And next up, very exciting. This is a Mythbuster recommendation. Adam Savage says, this is the book you need.
This is such a cool
So it's Pocket Ref,
Yep.
and this is kind of like a Pocket Wikipedia for makers, I guess I'd say.
This is like everything. Do you want to go to the overhead and I'll like flip through it?
Yeah, sure, let's do that.
Hold on. Okay, I'm just going to show that. I was like playing Gauntlet. Yeah,
Okay.
playing Gauntlet.
Can you turn off the lights?
Yeah, that's weird. Okay. Oh, didn't need it before. Okay, this is the Pocket Ref, and it's a little book, and it's just full of all these like guides and diagrams and tables and like constants and electrical and like different grades of bolt heads and military ranks, so you don't get embarrassed when you go to a picnic. How to calculate areas of shapes, interest rates, knots, steels, metals, screw sizes, how to perform CPR on a dog, signs of the zodiac. I mean, this is a kind of like everything you'd ever need to know. I mean, like you basically want to know if it's in there. It's probably in there. This is like really, really handy. And yeah, weather map symbols. Like wow, you don't even know what's in here. And it's cool because you can like, you know, first off, this is kind of fun to read. Like I don't know if people read books anymore, but I actually find this kind of fun to flip through because you're like, hey, like what, like I want to know about glue solvents, paints, and findings, and they tell you all about the different types of glue. So check it out. Makes it for a great gift. Keep it handy. Keep it in your, you know, on your work table, and you will refer to it.
Real quick, we got these cool and warm LEDs in a 10-pack. We have a good example of each in action. So this is warm, and this is cool.
Yeah, you can see that one has like a whiter, cool white reflection, and then the warm one has more of a like a candlelight or incandescent reflection. So here it is, and it's really bright. So sorry, this is the warm white, so you can see it's a little like yellowish light. And these are NeoPixel compatible. So they have the 4 pins for the NeoPixels, and you can use them with any NeoPixel library or code. So if you can use it with a Raspberry Pi using the Pi DMA code, or an Arduino, of course, or a Spark Core, or like pretty much any processor that almost everything has NeoPixel libraries now. Just one thing to watch for, we also have them in dot star, which are the 6-pin SPI, and these are NeoPixel 1-wire. And these have a little bit more of like a flickery effect, which doesn't really come through on the video. But the refresh rate's a little slower. So if you want to have very smooth dithering, you might want to check out the dot stars. But for a lot of people who already have NeoPixel compatible code, drop these in. You can also use our EagleCAD item, and you can have cool white or warm white LEDs. And they have a very beautiful glow, much better than what you would get by trying to mix RGB. So that's why we offer them. Very interesting stuff.
All right, next up, we got this handy dandy USB.
It's handy.
Power,
I don't know what else to say. It's
USB
a
power
micro
switch.
USB cable. It's like 5 feet long. It has a switch in it. It's not for data. It's for power. And these came to us from the same place that made the Andy's case for the Raspberry Pi. It's good as a Raspberry Pi power switch. Don't forget, you have to still have shut down your Pi properly, but then you can turn it on and off with this. Also good for like turning on and off charging stuff or anything that's powered over micro USB. Maybe you have a project. Just remember, it doesn't do data. It's power only, even though it looks like it's a power and data cable. So don't be confused where you're like, how come the data side isn't working? Trade-offs.
Okay. And then I guess some big news in the world of Arduino. It just happens to be part of our new product talk this week. We have the Pro Mini.
Pro Minis!
So we have the 2 versions that everyone knows. We have the 3.
This is the 3-volt one. You
Yeah.
can't tell on the back. You can tell,
Yeah,
but they actually
three.
they look the same from the top, really, pretty much. And this is a 3-volt, and the other one was 5-volt.
Yeah.
And these are the Pro Minis, and this is a SparkFun product that's an official Arduino, and it's been very, very popular and highly requested. And we were finally able to get these in the store. I'm so happy because I've been trying to get these for a couple of years,
Yeah.
and we have them. Yay! Thank you. So I can show these on the overhead, maybe. The overhead's really light today. Hold on, let me zoom in.
Yeah.
Zoom
so
in, zoom in. Hold on. Zoom, zoom. That's all the zooming I can do?
I can talk to you about it later,
Okay.
but it's
Okay, no, this is great. Perfect. Okay.
There's a reason.
There's always a reason.
Yeah.
So these have an Atmega 328 in the middle, and they have a reset button and a power regulator. Hold on. Let me hold it. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it's going to focus. Yeah. Nice. It's got the Atmega 328, a reset switch, and a regulator and power circuitry, and then use an FTDI cable or FTDI friend or other FTDI compatible thingy to program it, and it works with the Arduino IDE, and it's like an official Arduino, so you just pull down and you select Pro Mini, 3-volt or 5-volt, and you're ready to go. And so these are just very small, low cost, and very skinny. They're very thin. Arduino compatible, so very good if you have a project you build an Arduino with an Arduino, and then you're like, hey, I want to put this in a box, or I want to make it a wearable or portable, and you don't want to have this big Arduino. Maybe then you can recycle your big Arduino from the project.
And the star of the show, besides you tonight, Lady Ada, it's now time to talk about the Pi 2 Model B.
Okay.
We're going to extend the show a little bit this week because this is a big deal. This is, I would say, a game changer as far as the low-cost Linux computer that's already has 3 million out there. Just when you didn't think it could get better, it did. And
Wow. And this was unexpectedly fast. Like, I think that Evan
everything about it's fast.
sort of, well, yes, maybe that's what's so odd happened. It was so fast. It showed up 4 times faster than expected because it's 4 times as fast as a Raspberry Pi Model B+. So this is the new Pi 2, which was released on Monday. And it looks a lot like the Model B+. Sorry, it's the Pi 2 Model B, which looks a lot like the B+, because it's the 4 USB ports and the 40-pin connector. But this has a new processor. Instead of the BCM 8335, it now has, sorry, instead of the BCM 2835, it has the BCM 2836. And the BCM 6, whatever, now comes with an ARM 7 core. So it's a much more advanced ARM core. This core is actually very popular for portables, tablets, and other small computers. So there's going to be more software available that can take advantage of this processor. It's very, very fast. It has, faster processing capabilities. It also runs faster. Instead of the 700 megahertz that the B Plus and the B and the A ran at, this one natively runs at 900 megahertz, and you can overclock it a little bit more to a gigahertz, but 900 megahertz is pretty damn fast already. And not only that, but it has 4 cores, quad-core processing. So just like your computer probably is a dual or 8-core or whatever processing machine, it has multiple cores. Not all software is going to be able to take advantage of it to the point where it actually is 4 times as fast for that. But there is a lot of software that can. If you compile the software and you tell it there's 4 cores, try to adjust the software so that it can take advantage of it, you can gain another 4 times speed boost because you have 4 different processing units that can each do computation. And not only that, but they also extended the RAM from 512 megabytes from the B Plus and the B to a whopping 1 gigabyte because the previous processor couldn't address more RAM. They was maxed out. They couldn't do more than a half a gig. But this new processor can do at least 1 gig. I'm assuming you can do 1 gig maximum, and that's what they went with. And that really makes a huge difference because it means you can run, for example, web browsing and software that wants to stick a lot of stuff in RAM and cache it for speed. So
it's
all
a computer.
Of these things,
it's a computer.
It's a computer. So all these things together, 1 gig of RAM, ARM 7 core processor, higher speed, and quad core, 4 upgrades in one. So it's a major upgrade. This is like a really big upgrade, and it does affect the processing quite a lot. We did some benchmark tests as well as just some everyday usage tests.
This is, by the way, that's the guide. So we have the most comprehensive benchmarking I think that's out there right now.
Yeah, and we're updating it too.
Yeah. So
All the time.
do check it out. One of the things too that was a big deal about this announcement is, and just to be clear, it's not going to be running Windows 10.
It's not like a desktop.
But
Windows 10.
but Windows, the embedded group, you'll be able to develop Internet of Things using the Windows 10 tools.
If you're a developer and you are comfortable with writing code for Windows 10, you can write an application and deploy it to the Pi. As far as we know, there's not going to be like a desktop start button, and you're not going to like be able to run Internet Explorer. But you will be able to have the Windows 10 core run, which is actually a very powerful thing because there are hundreds of thousands of developers who want to develop stuff for Windows and maybe deploy it to a Raspberry Pi, which is a very, very low cost processor. It's also really nice because now it's not just like Intel, it's also ARM. Like there's more options. And who knows, like this may allow people to make standalone kiosks or tablets or other tools that use the Pi 2, and instead of having like a gigantic thing, it's maybe a lower power. Some things to watch out with the Pi 2 because I've just things I've noticed as I've been using it. One, you cannot use your previous SD card with the Pi 2 just by like hot swapping it from your B+. You need a new firmware image because there's a new core, a new processor, a new kernel to take advantage of the 4 cores and like the ARM v7. So what you have to do is if you have an older Pi image and you really don't want to like mess with it because you have all the software installed and like whatever, put it in a Pi B+ and then run the sudo apt-get upgrade. It's in the tutorial also if you don't remember the exact command. And that will download new firmware and kernel updates for you. It's backwards compatible. It'll still run on your B+, whatever, but also run on the Pi 2. Another thing I've noticed, because we're just having a good time discovering all these things, I2C and SPI, if you use those because you're a hardware hacker and you're connecting sensors, you have to add an extra little thing into boot config for the device tree overlay.
They're not on default, so you have to edit a
default.
little text file, right?
Our previous tutorials and other previous tutorials, which talked about loading in a kernel module, are not enough. You also have to add this device tree overlay thingy, and I used the Raspberry config software, and I'm not sure if it worked. I'm not sure, but you can manually add it in very easily. We added it to our how to set I2C and SPI tutorial on the learning guide. Just watch out for that. If you're like, hey, my I2C sensor or hat or thingy used to work on a B+, it doesn't work on the Pi 2. It's because of that. There's also device tree overlay stuff, which is, we have a tutorial on device tree overlay. So if you're wondering what's upcoming in Pi technology, the new 3.18.5 kernel supports device tree overlays, and it looks like it's going to be used a lot, especially for hats. For the EEPROMs that are on the hats. So check out our device tree overlay guide that Justin Cooper wrote for the Beagle and Black. Still works, even though it's for Beagle and Black, it is very similar to what's going to be happening with the Pi. The Pi 2 also uses a little more power. You definitely need at least 1 amp to use like Wi-Fi and processing on the Pi 2. It uses like 100, 200 milliamp more depending, the quad core, faster. More of everything, you need to give it a little bit more power. So just be aware for portable projects, you may want to slow it down or maybe not use a Pi 2, use a Raspberry Pi B+. Software is backwards compatible. Apparently, the ARM7 processor can run ARM6 code emulated out of the box. So most software, you will be able to sort of run it and it'll still work. But be aware that you will not be able to take advantage of the speed upgrades that are in the ARM7. So any software that you're using, if you're like, like the Pi 2 is not that fast. Like I'm running this code and it's like, it's gonna about a little bit faster, but not crazy faster. Probably just needs to be recompiled. So if you're able to do that, I would suggest recompiling it. And if you're not, ask the person who's doing it. Also, a lot of stuff for the Pi 2, like the RPi GPIO libraries and other Python libraries and like, et cetera, are, like the Pi TFT, it's not quite ready. Like, we didn't get these until like you guys did pretty much. So we're scrambling to make it work with the Pi 2, but just be aware, like, especially if you're watching this live and it's only been 3 days since like the Pi was, or 2 days since the Pi 2 was released. Stuff may not work to start. You might have to be a little patient and wait a couple days to have all the different parts of the ecosystem catch up to the Pi 2.
Okay. What's the thing you like most about the Pi 2 Model B?
The Pi 2 is, it is like damn fast. I mean, like compiling code on it is really, really nice now. Like I could have to get to compile all these emulators, and normally it would be like an hour, and it was instead like 10, 15 minutes because compiling code gets to use all the processors. So it was a really big relief because I was like, I'm really in it for like 4 hours, but it was actually quite fast. It boots up very fast as well. Boots up in 20 seconds instead of like 45, so it's much faster in that regards. And when you use a web browser, like the web browser feels like a web browser. You feel like you're using a computer. And I never thought that the Raspberry Pi was a toy, but I think a lot of people saw it that way. They're like, oh, it's a toy computer. It's like a tchotchke computer, but it's not. It's actually it is actually comparable to like a netbook. It is usable as a working computer, so it's very good for people who do want to use it as a computer or do any kind of processing on it. Not fast enough to turn into a Bitcoin miner yet, but so I don't recommend that.
I don't know if people are doing that so much
I
anymore.
don't know if people are doing that anymore.
The coins were gotten.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're gonna
Dogcoin.
Okay. Well, that's it for new products this week. Thank you, and big week for Raspberry Pi. And then one thing is congratulations to the Pi team. That was an excellent launch.
That was an epic
You took down
launch.
the internet. Every website that had Raspberry Pis is still kind of struggling to keep up with the demand of the worldwide traffic and orders. We've had Pis in stock, Pi 2s that is, and they instantly are grabbed up. And
we're getting more of that.
Yeah, we're doing a limit of one per customer. We're doing the best we can. And we still have plenty of B pluses. A lot of people still are using them, of course, for things that they had specific projects in mind. It might be months until the supply meets the demand. So these are pretty low-cost computers.
We're getting more. I mean, we have shipments that are scheduled, and unless something goes amiss, we should be able to be up and running within a week, I think, with plenty of Pis for everybody.
Yeah, okay. And I just want to remind everybody, the code is PyPi. 10% off in the Adafruit store.
Including the, not the Pi 2, 'cause but the B Plus and other accessories and the cases and all the other things that we
too early to start. Okay, so we're going to do a round of questions. Lady Ada, we're going to do a speed round, then we'll get you out of here.
Okay.
Okay, post your questions in the chat.
I can do a speed round.
Yeah, we're going to do a speed round.
Right.
Right.
Pi Girl.
Okay, ready? You ready?
Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. I'm going to play as a warrior. Yeah, I'm ready. Press start.
How many amps can the ITO plastic transfer?
I don't know, but not a lot. I wouldn't really transfer more than like maybe 25 milliamps over it. I know you can do it with LEDs, but if you need a flexible material that can transmit a lot of current, wow, treasure, 100 points. Get a Pyrolux. It's flexible. It's not clear, but can transmit like amperes.
Okay. Will Adafruit ever have an Amazon Prime style shipping option? The answer is yes, if it made sense and it doesn't hurt Adafruit and doesn't give our customers a bad experience. Shipping is not cheap, and Amazon, I don't believe anyone says they're profitable. That's not kind of their thing. It's more about revenue for them and kind of being the one place for everybody. So they can sustain that. I believe Prime, the cost of Prime was increased because people were like ordering tractor trailers or something that would show up for
Bowling
free.
balls, yeah.
Yeah, like a skid of bowling balls. So we would do it if it made sense. We are working on a lot of interesting options for shipping, including probably same-day delivery in New York City. But we're working on it. You have to do it the right way. So the experience for everybody is good, including our staff. I want to make sure that we can actually handle something that we deploy. Someone wants to know, what is the max load on the pins for the USB DC charger?
I don't know what that is. We post in the forums,
Okay,
and
yeah.
when you post up, have a product ID so I know what we're talking about.
Okay.
And I'll look it up.
What's a good, cheap bench power supply, and do I need it?
A bench supply is really handy. If you don't want to get a full bench supply, we have these really handy adjustable output 12 volt, up to like 18 or 12 volt power supplies. They're like wall adapters, but they have a switch on the side, and they're like, you can switch it from 1.5 volts to 3, 4.5. It goes up in like 1.5 volt increments, and it's meant for it to be like a replacement for like a cassette player or whatever, or whatever you want. But it's handy because it has all these different voltages, and often you don't need like 3.8 volts. You need either 3.5 or 4, And then we also have an adjustable breadboard power supply kit, which has a 1.5 amp regulator on it, and you can adjust it with a trim pot, and that might be good enough for your project as well.
Okay. Does the Raspberry Pi 2 Model B backwards compatible with the B Plus in some way?
The Raspberry Pi 2 can run code from the Model B Plus, so it's software compatible except for the kernel and the firmware, because you do have to have it kickstart. But once it's running, it should be able to run software that's compiled for the B Plus. It's also shape compatible. The connectors and the ports and all the things are all in the same location. The only exception is the chip is moved a little bit, and it did affect PIBO cases. But there's going to be a new PIBO coming out very shortly that will have a new layer that has been adjusted so it can work with the Pi 2. But for the most part, it's mostly backwards compatible.
Okay.
Mostly.
Let's see. Will the OpenGL limitation for emulating with a Pi TFT go away with the new Pi 2?
No, because OpenGL is only for the OpenGL acceleration is only for HDMI, and that's part of like the Broadcom GPU binary blob. So there's no way to take advantage of that. However, the Pi 2 might be fast enough to do a frame buffer copy in the background because it has all these extra cores. Maybe one core would do a frame buffer copy in the background. We'll try to experiment with that, but we have to get the kernel we compiled for the Pi 2 to work with the Pi TFT, which is the first thing we have to do before we can start experimenting with that.
Okay. Will Adafruit ever make a single board computer like a Pi?
Why? There's already a Pi.
Yeah, I would say the Pi folks are doing
Good job.
They're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
The BeagleBone's great. It's a great time if you want to do embedded Linux stuff. It's never
This
been
is
better.
like the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, PC 104 was like really horrible. Like this is like so much nicer.
Yeah. Do we have a good tutorial on how to use an oscilloscope?
We don't have a tutorial on how to use an oscilloscope, but on the oscilloscopes that we do carry, we link to a really good tutorial called like the XYZs of oscilloscope. It's by Tektronix, and it's an excellent, excellent tutorial. And it's how I learned how to use oscilloscopes. Pretty much everybody I know learned how to use oscilloscopes, and it's just free to download, so check it out. It's called like the XY of oscilloscopes. It's linked off of all of our oscilloscope products.
Okay. Are the TMP 007s likely to break because they look exposed?
Well, any exposed electronics is likely to break. So yeah, if you want to use it in something, protect it, use an enclosure to make sure that it's not something that something can hit against. Pretty much everything we have, if you hit it, will probably break.
Okay, can you copper plate the copper fill PLA in a copper acetone solution? Any values for resistivity or thermal conductance?
It's not thermally resistive. It's not thermally conductive or electrically conductive. You shouldn't use it in any sense for a mechanical usage of copper or brass. If you need something that's copper or brass cast, you have to copper or brass cast it. This only looks like copper or brass cast.
Okay. Would you ever be interested in making a relay BOB shield?
I think plenty of other people have done it.
Okay, that's good. I like your style.
Yeah, I don't want to do it.
All right. And with that, late data, the speed round is over. Good round of questions. Exciting week. Big week here into the Adafruit. We have a lot more pies coming, but we have one right now.
This one. This is the last one on Earth.
This is the last one that we have that we can
Right now.
that we can spare.
That we can give away.
Yeah, so we're going to give away a Raspberry Pi
Two.
to
Model B,
Lady Ada.
RAM on the back.
It's trivia question time. What are the rules?
The rules are if you have won something from the trivia contest before on this show, you can't win again. Only one winner per my lifetime. So if I have given you something, can't win again. Want everyone to have a shot of winning. So please sit on your hands or have a sandwich or whatever. The first person to type in the correct answer according to Phil, he gets to decide what's the correct answer.
It's a lot of pressure on me.
It's a lot of pressure, but you come up with a question, you come up with the answer.
Yeah.
Is the YouTube and Ustream both synced up?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
YouTube or Ustream, you have equal chances.
Okay, you ready?
What's the question?
1995, the first woman pilot to pilot the space shuttle. What's her name? First and last name.
Were you paying attention earlier?
Yeah, it was on the show earlier.
Yeah.
I made it real easy. And, you know, one of the things that we like to say here at Adafruit, we celebrate. You celebrate lots of amazing women doing amazing things. Guess what? You're going to see a bunch of amazing women do more amazing things. So let's see who can Google it fast enough, who can go to our site and type time travel.
Female pilot of a space shuttle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easy stuff. First woman pilot to pilot the space shuttle as a mission. What is her name? And it looks like the first person to get it was Don Manning.
Don Manning.
Congratulations, Don Manning. Email support@adafruit.com and you get the elusive, the exclusive, the rare. This is going to be like, yeah, it'll be like Sasquatch. It'll be like walking in the woods. So email support@adafruit.com, Don Manning, and just say, hey, I won. Send us your address and we will send you one of these right away. Congratulations, Don.
And for people who didn't win, don't worry. We're probably going to give away like one next week.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. An epic show.
It's a big deal.
Yay. Don, don't forget to email support
Yeah.
Adafruit. And I want to see a photo of a cat or something.
Yeah, we are. So thank you, everyone. Thank you all the patient folks as our site was getting hammered during the Pi 2 launch. Thank you all of our team members that have been working really hard on keeping everything running here. We had some record shipping days here, thousands of orders. Things were going a little bonkers. We're keeping up. Everything's going really good. And special thanks to all the folks that are doing stuff here with us right now, from the show and tell to Ask an Engineer to a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Thank you. And of course, most of all, thank you everyone who watches. That's why we do this. You know what? You know what the most important part of a show like this? The audience.
That's true.
You can't have a show without
It
an
would be
audience.
really creepy if we were just like broadcasting this for nobody.
No, I feel like we're helping folks out, answering some questions, showing some cool stuff. We'll see you next week. Don't forget the code is PyPy. 10% off in the Adafruit store. And you're probably saying, is there a picture of a cat? Yes, there's a picture of a cat.
Yeah.
And here is your moment of Zener. We'll see you guys next week.